Oops. Now, see, that's what I just messed up. Okay, hold on. Give me a chance. All right. There we go. So basically, the first thing that we want everybody to do, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, is that we want to get your unit registered online to sell popcorn. And if you look at this slide, we're going to put all this stuff up on our website, so you'll be able to download all this stuff as well. But if you're new to the popcorn sale, if you're a brand new kernel, you're going to want to go on to this website and create a popcorn kernel account as a part of that commission process. And then we're going to get your unit registered, and we'd like you to do that as soon as possible. And the website down below is trails-in.com/unit registration. And that's the first step we want everybody to do, is to get their unit registered to sell. Many of you have already done that over the summer, and thank you for doing that. If you're a brand new kernel, you want to start doing that. You want to get yourself logged in, and we will see it come through on our side of it and be able to make the approvals and get everything processed. Biggest question is, why do we sell popcorn? Because it funds scouting. This is the largest amount of any fundraiser that is done that's returned to scouting, any product fundraiser in the country. The return to scouting on this is greater than any of the other ones. A portion of that money, it goes to the units, and a portion of that money goes to the council. The unit stuff, you guys know what you do with the money for the units. You guys use it for registration fees, boys' life fees. You also use it for campouts. I know there's a number of scouts, my son included, that every year he went to summer camp, it was paid by popcorn, the popcorn money that he earned. And his last trip that he did with the scout troop before he aged out, it was a whitewater rafting trip and in West Virginia, and that was his last thing, and he burnt out his entire scout popcorn account with that whitewater trip, and that was kind of his final hurrah. But everything he did as a parent, it's kind of nice when it's not coming out of my pocket, and that's one of the things. But another thing that it does, not just with helping the scout earn his way, but I'll use my son. I think it's a personal experience that I've got, and I think each one of us have those personal stories. My son, he had sold enough, and of course, it's not like I could bring it to work and sell it. Everybody here at work has it. But he would sell door to door, and primarily door to door is what he would do, family and friends. He really didn't do the table sales per se. But when he sold enough one year to qualify for scholarship and everything, and one of his essays for that, or what popcorn did for him, he made the comment that he had a hard time talking to adults when he was a kid. He was shy. And through the popcorn sale, he learned how to talk to adults. And with that, he feels that helped him get his when he interviewed for scholarship at college, when he interviewed for that, and we interviewed for a job at college. These are the kind of things that help build confidence in him, because he could look adults in the face, eye to eye, and have a conversation. And in the age where we have everybody looking down at their phones and typing things on their phones and never really talking to each other, it's a refreshing situation when you have a new employee that actually makes eye contact with you, because it's not necessarily just intuitive anymore. It's something that has to be trained. And popcorn helps do that, the popcorn sale. From a council standpoint, we use the proceeds that we get for popcorn from the popcorn sale to help fund camp scholarships, to help make upgrades to camp, to help provide programming when it comes with new unit support, to help reach out to increase scouting in other areas where we don't have a scouting program. Those are the things that we do with the popcorn that we receive. A big thing, this partnership with Trails In has been going on since 1980. And during that time, over $4 billion worth of popcorn, or worth of sales, have been returned to scouting. And that's a huge, significant amount, and it's one worth mentioning. So I think I'm going to right now turn this over to Andrew, and I'm going to try and get him online here. Andrew, can you hear us?
I'm here. I'm ready to go.
All right, and this is Andrew Dorsett. He is our sales rep, and he's going to cover the next series of slides, and he'll turn it back over to me, and I'm going to put myself on mute so I don't create any background noises here. But Andrew, take it away.
I appreciate everybody. There's a lot of people that have cameras on tonight. I appreciate that. Sometimes I get on these webinars and Zoom meetings and I can't see anybody's faces, it's like I'm just staring into the black abyss. I like seeing people's reactions. I like reading facial language just to see, where we are in conversation and discussion. Because, I think Wayne and I, we've talked a lot, and, this is a special year, obviously surrounded by some special circumstances with COVID-19 and the concerns that families have out there. But we really look to make this the best sale that we can for you all and for your scouts. We want everybody to stay safe. And we're always looking, for feedback and kind of ways that we can kind of help mold this to the best of our ability to, provide a successful stage for you and platform to sell on. So appreciate it. You all having your cameras on. So real quick, wanted to touch on the Trails In app. We all know for the most part, unless you're new here, which if you're new, congratulations, you assumed one of the most highly anticipated roles of scouting is that popcorn kernel, right? And the old rumor is once you're there to stay, so to speak. But no, it'll be great. Glad to have everybody aboard here. Last year we introduced the app, and what we were really after is kind of like a point of sale for that scout and recording a bunch of data, right? I think we're all more successful when we can game plan, strategize with data. And that's what we saw last year. We had piloted it a little bit in 2018. We had put $1.9 million through it. Last year, we ran over 190, almost $200 million through that app. Trails In had paid for those credit card fees in partnership with council and kind of what we do to come with support with money and things of that nature to kind of put this sale on. We're going to continue to do that again this year, and I'm really excited to share with you all what we're going to be doing with the price program, kind of in correlation with, different ways to sell and kind of promoting, safer, healthier habits, but also, getting that money quicker. And, we all love top selling scouts, but it is so dangerous. I've heard the horror stories where the family will have like $3,500 just like laying around in the glove box of a car. Like that is just, it's terrifying to me. One of our guys on our team, Adam Walden, he has a son. He sold $2,500 last year at one point, and he had that cash in a glove box of his minivan and was just driving around like it was no big deal. And, people were asking, hey, how's your son doing? He's like, well, I got to take some money to the bank. And they were like, well, how much have you sold so far? $2,500, no big deal, just in a glove box. It's so much responsibility. You just don't want, anything to ever happen. And so that's one major reason why we instilled that credit card processing. Again, that's free, covered by Trails In and council there. And, we're just trying to help you all out. How do we, take that risk management really, off your plate? Like I said, real-time tracking and the sales, you all as unit leaders. I don't know if you did it last year, try it this year. I know Wayne and I were sitting around the computers, well, not sitting around, but maybe checking in, especially during the weekends here and there, seeing that running total just get higher and higher and higher. You can really, see all the stats. What are your scouts selling on the storefronts and the wagon sale, whether it be a show and sell or take order, all these great things. So, there's going to be a new thing here, and I'll talk about here in a second. It's called Online Direct. So for the first time ever in that Trails In app, you'll be able to sell online. So that's a really cool feature. And families, like I said, going back to this top selling scout scenario, say you got tons of cash on your hand and you're going to put that in the bank, you can actually pay your unit back via personal credit card this year. So you say you take $2,000 for the popcorn out, you owe your unit for it, you can actually just submit credit card payment for that if you've already got in the bank yourself. So some really cool things we're doing. Obviously, we saw over 10% growth for units that use this. Really, we saw 15% growth for units that attended our webinars, that logged 75% more in the app, and all these things, right? So these initiatives that we're kind of bringing back for year two here, you'll see just have some great proven results. And we know those scouts are empowered more than ever, right? I've got one that's going to be 4, his name's Lincoln, and then I've got one that just turned 1 year old. But these little kids these days are so opinionated. They say the darndest things. Now, my parents always told me I did too, but They just know exactly what they want whenever they want. And you'll see through this technology and the prize program, we're giving back more than ever, and we're giving them what they want for their hard work. So I guess last thing I'll hit here is just remember, and I'll hit this here in a second later, but 27% higher transactions. So on average transactions, a customer is spending 27% more dollars than if they were cash. It's just the credit card, debit card, swipe freely kind of thing where you're like, you know, process it now, pay for it later type of deal. So big thing there that I'll cover here in a bit. Go to the next slide, please. So just a quick reminder, and I think this is a really useful tool to kind of, whether you're meeting in person, whether you're going to have kind of an online kind we're doing now, kind of kickoff webinar. This is a great screen. You can actually send a text into 62771 to download the app. You know, some people, this gets me. It's really funny. Our kids are so smart. Like I said, my 4-year-old's on the phones. He knows exactly how to work the apps and all these things and games. A lot of times I hear from the parents, it's like, well, I don't know if my Scout can do that. I said, you'd be amazed at what your Scout could do. Give them the phone and let them set the account up, because I'm telling you, most of them will be able to. And so I had a top selling mom that the council last year, which is actually close to you, it's in Kansas, and they decided they weren't going to use the technology at all. Well, this year they're on board, they're doing it. Top selling Scout in the council sold over $11,000. She said, I can't log in, I can't figure the username and password out. I said, hand him the phone, hand Landon the phone. I said, can I talk to him? She goes, well, sure. So I'm talking to Landon. I'm like, Landon, how you doing, man? He's like, I'm good. My mom can't figure this out. I said, okay, text this for me. And so he texted that number. It sent him the download for the app. And literally in 5 minutes, we had the app set up. And the mom was hands off. Melissa did absolutely nothing. She was so confused. She was so flustered. And then we got Landon on the phone, who's the top selling Scout, sold over $11,000. He set the whole thing up in less than 5 minutes. So it's really easy to do. And if you've got your parents out there that are tech savvy, it's probably going to take a minute or two tops. So really good stuff. Make sure you share this at your kickoff. So the unit leader portal. So we kind of talked a little bit about what your Scouts use. You know, if you're coming back for year 2 here on the kind of progressive technology that we've, you know, installed in the sale, you're going to be able to track all your Scout sales. So again, from that unit leader portal, trails-in.com, log in as the unit leader, right? And you'll be able to see all of the wagon sales. You'll be able to see how many sales you've made via credit card, your Scouts have made via credit card. So, and then you're going to see how many sales have been recorded via cash. So how much cash do you have owed as a unit, right? So how much cash do your Scouts have out there? So it's just a really great reporting tool. You'll be able to see different inventory levels. You're going to coordinate your storefront sites and shifts, which I know can be scarce this year, but we'll get past that. We'll figure it out. You know, one thing I would say is we constantly have this conversation this year internally. When this sale started 40 years ago, throughout the years, it's been much larger than it has now, dollar-wise, Scout-wise, participation-wise. And when this sale first started, it was all door-to-door. I know Wayne remembers that, you know, and I'm sure some of you all lifetime Scouters remember when there was 1 or 3 different products, and it was maybe a caramel corn, and you had the jugs of the popping corn, and they'd bust and spill all over and all that good stuff. But just remember, you know, there's ways around it, but you'll still have the opportunity to coordinate those storefront sites and shifts. And you're going to place your popcorn order there. It's a big blue button, it says order popcorn. And we'll go over the support and technology and stuff if you got any questions on this. But the fun part here, I think, is really it's kind of a lifesaver for you all as unit leaders, right? You go through this whole sale, you're managing everything, you do all the great stuff that you do. I mean, you're setting up the roster, you're setting up the storefront sites and shifts, you're getting your Scouts motivated, you're setting goals, you're doing all this great stuff, and then comes prize time. And second year here, we're going to go with the Trails In Rewards program. And I don't know if you all liked it last year, I hope you did, but if you remember, you know, back to the physical prizes where, you know, you're trying to figure out, okay, so we'll take my name, for example, Andrew, you know, he sold $1,500. He's got X amount to spend. So, but then I'm double and triple dipping between all these levels and all these things. And really now it's like, did Andrew sell $1,500? Yes, he did. You check mark it, you submit it to Trails In, and then we take it from there and send the gift card out. Look, I know that sometimes it's not all, you know, it doesn't fit every single mold perfectly. I know there's kids out there that still miss the physical prizes, but you know, that's why we got that prize sheet we'll go over and things of that nature. But just kind of wanted to give you guys just kind of an overview of what that Trails In Leader portal looks like again. So the improvements this year, I don't know if anybody realized how many clicks it took to start a sale to end a sale last year. It's between like 9 to 12, just depending on how much information you put in from the customer, all the screens you jump through. We've actually narrowed that down to 4 clicks this year. So amazingly enough, you can start a sale, you can take that item, and basically in 4 clicks, you're processing that credit card or cash payment. There's, like I said, one of the great improvements this year is having the online sale in there. And we've also kind of created this text to shopping cart to consumers. So say you've got scout families in your unit that have some major health concerns, or they're at high risk for, you know, contracting COVID or have any issues, or maybe we have customers out there, right? Elderly, you know, people, I know my grandparents are in Florida right now. They've been sheltered for like 4 months. They're like, we're not coming out. You know, I don't blame them. It's just uncertain times and we have to respect that. So what we've actually done is you as a scout parent can take an order and you can literally get to the processing screen, get their phone number, and they can shout it to you however far away you're standing. It doesn't matter. Text that shopping cart to them. They can enter their own credit card, debit card payment information, and it processes it right then and there, and it's a recorded sale. So really cool features. We're just taking extra steps to keep everybody safe here if we've got people out there, you know, that have concerns. And then we've made, you know, improvements on the unit leader portal, and we'll send this all to you so you can read over it. I don't want to go in super detail because Wayne's going to mention some webinars and things you all can hop on that are going to cover a lot of this stuff in detail and run through. But basically, I think last year we got a lot of feedback, including myself, because I inserted myself as a unit leader in one of the units here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And there's just a lot of reporting. There's a lot of data. You got to jump in and out of things. You got to download this Excel file, and you know you're just becoming an Excel expert. And we told, you know, our finance guys, look, not everybody's trying to do that. And sure, these unit leaders had crazy Excel spreadsheets, right? But not everybody wants to do that, and it shouldn't be that difficult. So what we've done that really amazes me this year is kind of like the inventory management screen actually shows each scout what they have on hand, what they've sold, how much is still left out there. It's just kind of a one-stop shop that really gives you an overview and summary of where you are in your sale per scout basis. So really cool stuff there, and you'll see more and stuff like this and run-throughs on the webinars. So online direct, just to touch a little bit on this, you know, I would say, is it the best and preferred way to sell? That's questionable. I think it comes down to what is your family looking for? What are your scout families looking for? I mean, you know, I'm younger, right? I've got younger kids, and if we were, you know, we're not there yet in terms of scouting, but say my kids were, you know, Lincoln's like 6 or 7, we're out knocking doors, and you know, I might assume that health risk, right? We're a younger family. We think I might be able to bounce back. But, you know, say, you know, my wife's got some health concerns and, you know, she's afraid of contracting this, or we know an elderly couple and we kind of live in an aged neighborhood, and maybe I don't, you know, I've kept my distance with them through this time frame. You know, you just don't know. What if you're asymptomatic, all this stuff, right? We've provided this tool. So I think if you're in a crunch situation like that and you want to stay on the safe side, great opportunity, great way to sell. Keep everybody safe, you know, just err on the side of caution there. I think the really cool, unique part about this year, though, is the rewards program is going to be a point-based system. And don't get lost here in the numbers and all these things. I'll run you through it. But basically, you're going to earn double the value you did last year if you sell online or online direct within the app. So essentially, you can go door to door and you can hit online direct in the app, and you can take that sale. We'll process that via credit card, right? And then we will ship that product, freshly made, by the way, and I'll cover this here in a bit on products, 21 days to the consumer. So all corn this year is freshly made to order. It's gonna be the freshest corn that Scouting's ever had, for a couple reasons where I'll get into, but it's just a great way to keep everybody safe. I think when you go to the grocery store and you're thinking, man, I sure hope like 20 people haven't touched this bag of whatever I'm, popcorn or whatever I'm getting, right? I mean, at least that's what I hope, especially when this first thing started coming out. I'm like, man, how many, the night workers come in and they're stocking all the shelves, and I hope they're wearing gloves. And then I hope like 5 different people didn't try to touch this, look at it, put it back. Who knows what these, what's going on, and so on and so on, right? So we've got the online direct in there. The products are freshly popped. They'll ship with, to the door front within 21 days. Obviously, you as a Scout parent, a unit leader, you're not having to handle the cash, handle the product, transfer it, all these different things. So, and then there's a My Plan, text 62771, how to sell $1,000 social distancing. We've kind of broke that down, right? Wayne and I have talked about this too in the past, and we've talked about it with unit leaders like yourselves across the country. It is super difficult to go to people, right, and tell them like, just go out and sell $1,000 and it'll cover all of your scouting costs. And people are like, $1,000, man? Like, you think we got time to do that? Like, I got kids and baseball and all these other activities and sports and daycare, and I'm working hard myself. Totally get it. But we've broken it down really, like how many door fronts you might try, how many family and friends, and so on and so on. So how it works, again, just you can share your page, and I just want to be clear, online direct is still an online sale. So if you're used to if your scouts are used to conducting their online sales through the computer, they can absolutely still do that. That's going to work completely fine for them. But we've just built that in on the app as well. Like I said, we get in those tough situations, take advantage of that safe technology in a way to just kind of ease people's minds. So this slide will be there for your use, but essentially everything I've already covered here. Kind of getting ahead of myself, Wayne. So want to hit products. I'm sure if you all have been part of our Facebook pages, things of that nature, you've been seeing some of these, the product listings and kind of what's going on here. I want to start out by saying, Trails Inn is a dedicated, popcorn manufacturing company to scouting. We don't have any other fundraisers out there. We started this sale over 40 years ago. There are 2 other popcorn vendors, but we've always taken the steps to return the highest, like Wayne said, the highest dollar we can to scouting. And that's kind of what you're seeing this year. So I want to go over a couple different things with you all. And you may have heard some of these stories. Manufacturing is super tough right now. There was a plant up in the Dakotas that was Smithfield Foods. They had to close because they had over 150 positive tests of COVID. They tried to operate like they have always operated, 4 to 5 feet apart. It wasn't getting the job done. And next thing you knew, they had to shut their plant down for weeks to clean, for their employees to heal and come back and test negative. I mean, businesses can't afford to do this. I mean, people are shutting down just because of these manufacturing principles, right? And so, what we've done, what has Trails Inn done? Well, we spent over 6 figures realigning our equipment in multiple facilities. We're doing temperature checks. We have bathrooms, like we are literally, people are showering, before and after work. I mean, health and safety has always been important for Weaver Popcorn, which is our parent company, and Trails Inn, Weaver fundraising, but more so now than ever, that is our main focal point. What I can tell you is we're not able to bring all of these products that we've always had, that we always have wanted, and maybe additional ones back to the sale this year. Because what you get into is you've got less people per shift because it's spread out again, and you've got more shifts throughout the day, but the changeover times are a lot more. So you go from maybe 15-minute changeovers to 30, 45 minutes. So you can imagine all these, and let's keep in mind, everybody's at home for the most part. So your big box retailers, Walmart, Costco, all these guys are selling a ton of product. Corn, especially the snack foods, is booming. But what happens is the demand is up, capacity's down, and we've got to start limiting product, right? And you're probably thinking, oh, well, scouting's getting the short end of the stick. Walmart, Costco, it doesn't matter who you are out there, everybody's getting shorted, right? And so instead of shorting everybody, a lot of product, let's try to make it all and see what it comes out and get into substitutes where, maybe you've already had a take order and you've sold somebody, a bag of chocolate or a thing of microwave. And we come out 2 months later and say, hey guys, we're not going to have that. You're actually going to have to take this to their door and see if you get the money or give them a refund. That's a mess, guys. We don't want to do it. Like, we just don't want to get into that, right? It's not fair to you all, your scouts, the consumer. It's not fair to the brand that we all have created over 40 years. So here's our traditional product line. In this, you will not see caramel ACP. That's the almonds, pecans, and cashews. Number one reason why. It is obviously the nut allergen, right? Nuts have gone up every single year for the past 8 to 10 years. We have not until last year passed that additional cost on to council. The reason why it keeps going up is no manufacturing facility wants to produce with nuts, because every time they produce anything with nuts in their facility, they have to put that disclaimer on their packaging. Well, everybody with the gluten allergies and the nut allergies and all these things now are looking for clean facilities. And by the way, we had 3 different caramel corns in our sale, and they're just not big enough of a market share to have that many. So we took the salted and the caramel, which are really like the 2 top selling ones there. So we're going to stick with those, the salted and the caramel corn. What you will see new is the Blazing Hot popcorn. So Blazing Hot we got with Frito-Lay, which we do some business with on one of the other sides of the business. It is the fastest growing flavor in snack foods in the nation. If you go to your grocery store, you're going to notice you've now got probably 4 to 5 to 6, depending on what region you're in, different types of food that are flaming hot flavored, right? I saw Pringles the other day. I don't know if they're Pringles, they were Lay's or something. Lay's are kind of making Pringles now. They're flaming hot. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this stuff is everywhere. So it's a very popular flavor. It's going to be in that big bag, like the white cheddar. You'll have the white cheddar again. One thing I want to cover here, well, a couple things. The popping corn, it's going to come in a jar. I think the number one complaint we always get, and I complain myself because I'm a huge popping corn fan, being from Indiana. We always pop our own corn. My go-to is olive oil, a little bit of garlic salt. Love it every night, doing movie night with the kids. Resealable jar. I hate cutting the poly bag open, dumping it in to, a container. And it doesn't matter what happens, it's always over the floor, all over the floor. So we're put a resealable jar in that. We go from a $10 to $15 item because we did a lot of research, and we heard from a lot of consumers that always paid, because we reached out and from the ones we knew online, and we said, if we charge you $5 more, but it came with the resealable lid, would you be in? And they said, absolutely, we're all in. It's just the same concern over and over, and nobody likes the poly bags. So we know it's a niche market. We know people will buy, even though it's an increase of $5. Cheese lovers this year, it's a big bag of the white cheddar. It's a big bag of the Blazing. And I hope you guys are happy, because I've been to I think I've been to one kickoff, and we had a unit leader dinner last year in Jayhawk. And I always hear from unit leaders, especially just kind of in your belt, man, I sure wish we had that jalapeno popcorn. We just missed that spicy flavor. So I hope this Blazing Hot really gives you the need for those, people that have that spicier palate out there. It's great stuff. I've tried it myself. It's a really cheesy, just flaming hot. Last thing I want to touch on here is the microwave, right? I'm sure if you've been on our Facebook, you've heard it all. It's the heartburn of the sale, right? When we're talking about raw materials and the pouches that those the microwave packets, right? You put it in the microwave and you microwave it, right? The pouches themselves are being shorted nationwide. Now, you may hear of, well, there's other vendors and, this company's not. Well, the problem is the capacity that we have versus the demand at our suppliers is just enormous. It's so high. We control most of the market share when it comes to microwave, right? We could have gotten in a couple scenarios. One we didn't do, which would be a super sticky situation, is if we said, Jayhawk Area Council, you get X amount of containers of microwave popcorn. That meant we would have been reaching out to every single one of you and letting you know, you might get one case, or you're not, you're not a top seller, so you don't get any. You're the top seller, so you get 5 cases. We just don't want to do that. I think we have to provide a risk-free, manageable platform for everybody. And nationwide, what we've said is we're going to put the microwave popcorn online. Anybody can sell it online. It goes from an 18 pack down to a 12 because the 12 pack is what's being mass produced right now. It's what's most ready available. It's what gives us the most line time, right? So we're able to make the most of that opportunity. And actually heard some really good things from our operations team yesterday on yesterday's call. We don't believe that that's going to go out of stock this year. So at first we thought it was going to be a run out kind of product. We think we've secured enough supply to be able to run that to the end of the sale. So keep your heads up on that item. I know it's challenging, but what I would say is for that online sale, it's still over 24% of the product being sold right now. So the consumers are still buying it, even though it's a 12 pack, even though it's 25 bucks. They're still going after it. And then the last thing I want to touch here, the Unbelievable Butter Ready to Eat. Same flavor profile. It's just a ready to eat pop. And, just look at that. Be careful on how you order it. Just do some, risk assessment on your end. How much, microwave did you sell last year? How much do you think you guys can sell online? It is a new product. It is a bigger bag. I think it's going to go over well once we can get it out in the field, get some consumers in each area kind of tasting it. But just wanted to kind of give you guys the lowdown on the traditional products. So online direct, you'll notice maybe you did or you did not. And you're like, Andrew, you're hiding or lying from us. We do not have chocolate in the traditional sale. It's a big bummer. I'll tell you why real quick. We're a popcorn company, right? So we don't do chocolate. So we produce the popcorn, always have, and then we ship it to a chocolate facility. Right now, those chocolate facilities, just like our manufacturing, are manufacturing other items. Lead time is crazy. We get into the situation of a 5 to 7, maybe 8-week lead time on product. We're literally delivering a take order and then delivering chocolate. Or we just deliver the whole thing on a delay. And we've got kids probably delivering product in snow. That's no good. We don't want to do that. It doesn't, there's a belt within the US that starts getting really bad weather come even October. So if we were to wait, it'd be November, late December. It's just not a good situation. Again, though, even with this past weekend, we are starting to see that online sale creep up with that chocolate. So we know people are buying it, especially if you're selling it to them, than the fact that we're making it fresh and it's shipped directly to their doorstep within 21 days. So I think the really cool thing here to focus on, though, is you have all traditional products plus the chocolate in the online sale. That's never been done before. So just wanted to remind you all of that. And yeah, Wayne, I think there's one more slide, and you'll see some different bundles, right? Throughout the sale, we'll do some campfire blends and sweet and savories and that kind of stuff. I think there's a couple coming out here for this weekend, I believe. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be running some different stuff online. So credit and debit. I think this kind of hinges, it's a 40-year-old sale, right? So I think when we started way back in the day, it was all about cash. And we have not trained our scouts to say we prefer credit or debit. And if you think about it, so like I said, I got 2 boys. I took out all this cash from the bank to pay my babysitter. For the first month, I had a lot of cash that we'd go to McDonald's once or twice a week. And I'm trying to hand, the person working the register through the window cash. And they would look at me like I'm crazy, like, man, there's a pandemic going on and you're trying to give me dirty cash, dirty money, right? And it started clicking with me. And really, our team, how can we protect you all? How can we protect our scouts and not having to handle that? And so if you remember, online gives you 2 points for every retail dollar sold. A credit card sale gives you 1.5 for every retail dollar sold. So if you see where I'm going with this, it's promoting a safer, healthier way to sell, but also how can we kind of filter that money and just, you know, keep the cash flow going for everybody. Like I said, again, want to hit it one more time, 27% higher sales when you're using the credit card versus cash. And then hardware, if your scout sold over $1,000, he or she will be getting one mailed to them. I'm not sure if anybody on this call has downloaded the app yet, but if you have, maybe raise your hand and say, yeah, we got one. Yeah, I see some out there. Awesome. So you all know the gig, and I think it's if you sold over 3,500 or so, you can get one of the Bluetooth ones. So those are pretty cool too. But yeah, I mean, just some cool stuff we're trying to do here to kind of influence, you know, a better sale for everybody. Alrighty, so trails and rewards here. Wayne, got your comment there. Just making sure we're on time here. So here's kind of the rundown. 2 points again for every dollar sold with Online Direct. Remember, Online Direct's online, so you can share it online with your computer, or you can go door to door and do it through the app, or you're at a family gathering, or you bump into people out at the mall or whatever. You got the app right there. Take the online sale. 1.5 points, so 1.5 for every credit or debit dollar sold, and then we'll still give you a point for cash. So look, the rewards program hasn't changed at all. We're not taking any money from anybody. We're not saying, oh, remember when you sold that last year? It's actually less than that. No, we're doubling the value of this program. More money is going back to scouts for their achievements than ever before. So really just kind of think, if your scout sold, you know, 300, maybe 350 was the entry last year, I think, and they got a $10 gift card, they could sell that much online. That's 700 points. But remember, if they sold it online, that's 200 points, right? So 700, that's a $600 point. So, or 600 points, that's $20 Amazon gift card. So you can do the math in your head. I mean, just realize the scouts that are taking the credit debit cards and the scouts that are using the online platform, they're going to double, 1.5, you know, they're going to get more rewards than they did last year. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. So if you got some scouts that utilized that kind of behavior last year, just tell them to increase it this year. Tell them we prefer credit card at the end of their pitch. Hi, my name's Andrew. I'm with Pack 13. I love going canoeing with my buddies Jonathan, Josh, and Jimmy every year at summer camp. Would you support me? We prefer debit or credit. My favorite product is chocolate lovers, right? Always sell the highest price item. All right, we're good there.
I want to throw in a point here. The last year we did kind of a hybrid where up to I think it was $1,000. It was the scout related prizes, and then anything above that we did the gift cards. This year, I mean, it was kind of the decision we made, but as we were seeing things happen with National Supply for our scout prizes and the challenges they were having in filling orders and things like that because of COVID, once again, very similar to the inventory challenges that some of these factories have had. The National Supply for the Boy Scout organization is in North Carolina, and the East Coast has been ravaged by this thing. And so I felt this was going to be a safer option to be able to guarantee that we would get the prizes to the scouts. We may change that in the future back, and we will see where it goes this year. The idea behind this, it was well received by councils that went all in last year, but I kind of said, let's dip our toe in the water and see what happens. But this year it just seemed like a safer option for us to be able to guarantee items more so than what we may. I was very fearful we'd have a lot of substitutions and a lot of delays in prizes getting out if we went through the scout supply this time around. But that was one of our reasons for going full in this year.
All right, so trails and rewards here just kind of detailed out a little bit. If you saw on the previous slide, Wayne, can you go back one slide? I just want to make a point here real quick. So you'll see the 6,000 points, that's the highest on this prize flyer. remember, we always want to do a prize flyer just so our younger scouts that aren't going to get that physical prize kind of get an image in their head of kind of what they're going after, start that imagination, right? Kind of the creation of what's going to happen with those points. These are actually all items that are online on Amazon you can buy for this money. So that's a great thing. You can go ahead and advance to the next slide, please, Wayne. But I just want to let you know, look, the 6,000, that's only level 14. It goes up to 19 different levels. And if your scout sells 17.5, they get 10% of that money, right, straight back to them in the form of his Amazon gift cards. So, you know, why do scouts love Trails End? Look, we got, like we said last year, girls, boys, both in scouting now. You know, we've got different age groups. This is the most versatile plan of all time. You know, we've got older scouts. I've always heard this, oh, we're in a troop, we don't sell corn. I'm like, really? Like, yeah, even with all the technology, yeah, we don't do it. Pony Express in St. Joe, Missouri, one of their top selling units is a troop. And they all pony up on the online sale and sell tremendously. And they took a trip to Yosemite National Park last year. And the kids all bought camping gear. I mean, some really cool stuff is going on. Just with an older scouts being able to use this, you know, this prize program and all that stuff, right? Delivered to the doorstep. The unit leaders aren't having to deal with it. You're not having to go back and just really make sure you got the order right. Trails End deals with that. And then it's really up to the scout parent. And really, I think what this does is it really motivates scouts. And we've kind of enhanced that tracking this year. And it'll actually kind of preempt the scouts saying, oh, you've reached your level, only, you know, 500 more points to the next level. And so there's a lot of play in there this year of kind of motivation and just really getting behind your scouts and showing them the love for the great work that they're doing. We can go next slide.
All right, I think you're back to me on this one now. The Trails End Facebook page is a great place to get a lot of information, a lot of best practices from other units. We encourage you to go ahead and text Facebook to 62771. That way you get in on the Facebook page for Trails End. There's also a council Facebook page that we do where we'll send out notices of upcoming activities and local decisions. But this is really great to interact with councils and sales, actually units across the country. And you'll find out ways that they're handling stuff. In many cases, you'll find the best practices even better than what you might have thought yourself by sharing with those with other units. Now, I had a question earlier about commissions, and we'll get to that in a moment. Key dates to remember. This is some things we're doing this meeting tonight, and we're going to have this recorded for other units that couldn't participate. We'll probably have another session later. Pre-orders are going to be due on the 21st of August, and the reason why it's a little earlier than the past is because what Andrew mentioned with the product being made literally as we order it. We'll place that order, and 2 weeks later, we'll be getting that product in our hands for those who want to do table sales or show and deliver methods. And so you will have product available. It'll be fresh as it's ever been. Normally this stuff is stockpiled over the summer for a sale that happens in the fall, but you're going to get it. You know, it's going to be the freshest popcorn if you picked it yourself. I think is the way it's going to work out this year. But by having that come on August 21st, we can still get it to you that on September 10th and 11th, and so you have it as early as possible. The 12th is when the sale, the fully sale begins. But if you have online sales opportunities, there's nothing that prevents you from starting that now with your scouts. But I also recognize that a lot of schools aren't going to really be getting ramped up, and your new scouts aren't going to be in play until closer to that 12th at the very earliest. Super Saturday, that's the big exchange day where you bring in your pre-order, you place your final order. That's going to be on the 31st. Within the pickup is going to be on the 12th and 13th. Which is once again a 2-week gap versus a 1-week gap for the same reason, producing the popcorn. And then the final payments will be due on the 1st of December. We backed some of that stuff up. We are probably going to be shifting some of these dates during the year as we see what happens with COVID and different things like that. I've even talked to Andrew about extending the sale beyond that October 31st date if we need to, if we have a lot of late starts, we've got a lot of new scouts starting. One of the things I remember as a parent, as a committee chairman of the Cub Scout pack, my son was in the pack. We tended, at that time, there was no lions, so tigers were the youngest, and we tended not to have the tigers sell. It's like, well, they're just getting started. They're kind of young. We'll let them kind of have a year to kind of get used to it. And we got feedback from those Tiger Cub parents that they were a little upset about that because they had to sit there all year and hear about all the great things that oh, wait, okay. Tracy sent me a note here. I got to make a change here. So yeah, but all the great things that Trails In or the popcorn sales was doing for our unit, and we didn't get a chance to participate in that, and we feel like we're taking advantage of the PAC's funds because we didn't get a chance to participate. And so I recognize there's going to be scouts out there that join that want to be a part of it, and so that we'll be able to address that by maybe extending the sale and giving that opportunity. There is one mistake on this slide that Tracy Pearson just messaged me. Thank you, Tracy. Those popcorn, the final order pickup is going to be on the 19th and 20th, not the 12th and 13th. I apologize for that. And I'll change that on the slide before I post this fully online for everybody to download. So that final one is going to be 19th and 20th. You're still going to get it before Thanksgiving, and that's the big thing. And then, so that's the dates, and that gives us the 2-week ability to order the product and get it in time so that you have it. Commission. This is a question that I got earlier, and I'm going to address that right now. There's some new things with the commission. You know, Andrew talked about the online direct being a slightly different way of selling and everything, and that they're going to get double points. But not only are you going to get double points, but you're going to get 35% commission on those. And that's and part of that is because the Trails In's done some tests with shipping costs. You know, this has always been a big thing. Do we embed the shipping cost into the price of the product and then raise the price to cover it? Do we offer it at the same price and eat the shipping cost, or actually just pull it out of commissions, things like that? So what Trails In's come up with a model is that although the customers have told them, the consumers, the surveys they've done has told them that the customer is not opposed to paying the shipping cost. It's very hard for a lot of our parents to promote something that has a shipping cost tied to it. And so therefore, we had to come up with a little different way of doing it. And so what Trails In is working on, what we're working on as a council is, we're going to cover the shipping costs as a council and as a unit, but we're going to bump the unit's commission on those online orders to mitigate that cost. And so basically, if you figure that the shipping costs are going to be in that range of 3 to 6%, you see the 6% increase right there from the traditional commission of 29% to the online commission. So what will happen is at the end of the sale, the shipping costs will be factored in, and we'll be able to manage that. But we wanted to make sure that the unit, that the scout didn't get punished for that, and the unit didn't get punished for that. And so the council is absorbing that by increasing the commission to the units, and Trails In is helping with that. So this is kind of a different model, different year, as you can imagine. On the traditional sales, you know, the door-to-door, the table fronts, anything like that, anything that's other than the online direct. And what we mean by online direct is someone orders online and it gets shipped directly to them. If somebody is ordering from your scout, you're putting on the app, and they're paying you with a credit card or whatever right there, but you're physically delivering the product. And so that's probably what I would say traditional sale is, physically delivering the product. That'll be the 29% commission, which is an increase of 1% from last year. I've been increasing that for the last few years. There was a special thing through August 15th that was on here that I left on there, but that was for people that picked up over the summer. And someone asked for troops. Sometimes units opt out of the prizes. We do still have that gift card opt-out option, and that'll be a 3% increase there. But I can tell you that if you go with the gift cards, the scouts are going to make out better, I think, in general overall with that. So that's the that's the thing. So this is and I know that some councils are offering free shipping and everything, and we're looking at ways we can do that. But right now, in essence, we're offering the shipping. What they're doing is they're keeping the commission the same, 29% or whatever the commission is for that unit, and they're not giving an increase in commissions for online direct. We've chose this model. That way the units that sell specifically for an online will see that benefit, and it's just a different way of cutting the same cloth is really what it comes down to. And I chose this way because I felt that it would give us a better read to see how it all works out. So ultimately, it's the same thing. It's just a different way of getting to that number. Oh, I think Andrew wants to be unmuted here. So let me see what I can do here. There we go.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. I just want to reiterate, several councils are offering free shipping. Here's the deal. There's never free shipping. Somebody pays for it, right? And like Wayne said, we ran a 4th of July free shipping weekend. That was pretty good. Then we ran a half off shipping weekend about 3 weeks ago. No one participated, hardly anyone participated in that. And then 2 weeks ago, we did a free shipping weekend on orders over $30, and that was the best one yet. So 2 things we know. No Scout really wants to share if there's shipping associated. And if you are sharing, no consumer really wants to pay shipping. Whether it's $3.99, $4.99, $7.99, it's not what they want to do. If you remember last year, it was free shipping on orders, items $30 or more, right? Everybody always said, I don't want to buy a $30 white cheddar bag if I can buy that in a traditional sale for $20. Well, this year, you could spend it a million different ways, guys. But what Wayne has done, and I love Wayne for this because he's always thinking ahead and he doesn't step too far ahead of the plan. Last year, he said, I want to keep the commission here because if we do go to a change next year, I want to be able to kind of throw that either way for whatever plan we go to. A lot of councils pocketed an extra 5% this year in an online sale. Wayne did not do that. He's given that to you guys. So council is taking care of you guys. You guys are in a completely different boat than a lot of councils out there where really the brunt of that shipping cost is coming from both council and unit. Really the way this is working out here in this council because of Wayne's patience of paying close attention to that over the years is just slow stepping the decision, like he said, and he's giving you that extra 5%, which will help cover most of the costs. I mean, the cost you guys are going to incur is very minimal. We'll take care of it as a debit memo on your invoice at the end of the sale. It'll be good to go. But what we've seen, look, you could have a higher percentage and earn lesser dollars. I don't think that's what we're after. I'd rather have less commission and more dollars earned throughout the sale. By the end of it, we make out way better. So I just applaud Wayne and being patient and really taking care of you all as unit leaders and your scouts. So
I'll look through some questions here, and there's a few good ones here, but we'll kind of catch them at the end so we kind of get through these. Excuse me. Once again, when it comes to kickoffs, they may look a little different for your unit also. Whoops, let me get back. Hold on. That's my problem. I hit my clicker too much. Sorry. Some of the kickoffs, the biggest key points about any kickoff, whether you do it on Zoom, whether you do it face-to-face, whether you do it on top of the mountaintop, there's some key things that you want to make sure you cover during those kickoffs for the units. You want to basically let them know how the money is raised and how it benefits their family in scouting. And that's something that probably is the biggest thing. I've been in packs with my son. I've lived in about 6 different areas, and my son was in scouts through each one of those moves, except for this last one because he turned 18 before I moved here. But the packs and the troops he was involved with, when the families knew what the money was being spent on and why it was important to sell, they were more committed to helping. And the more it's what's in it for them, the better it is. But I as a pack treasurer, I made sure I shared with everybody all the expenses and income that we had as a pack because I felt it was their money to begin with. And the more knowledgeable that they were to realize how much awards cost or how much it cost for registration or whatever it was, the more engaged they'd be in helping us come up with a solution. And that's one of my main reasons why I feel the more you share those kind of things, the better. Unit and scout goals. If a scout sets a goal, if a unit has a goal, there's something to drive toward. It's literally that simple. It's, we all have set with, there's, Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. And that's kind of where that is. It's a great life lesson for our scouts to be able to set goals and to have the rewards for achieving those. That how to sell a $1,000 social distancing in 8 hours, that app, that PDF that'll be on that app. I encourage you to do that. Encourage everyone while they're there at that meeting or doing that, just go ahead and download the app and get started. Talk about the rewards program, how there's bonus points. It was like, oh my gosh, they're giving us less credit for a traditional sale. Well, no, they're giving you extra credit for other types of sales, and that's kind of where it is. Nothing's being taken away; it's being added. If you have a specific unit promotion, I know some of you have the big pizza parties. Some of you have the pie in the face for a certain sales level. Some of you have special activities that if the scouts sell a certain amount. I've seen blue and gold banquets that are just a huge party because of this. Whatever you do, make sure you're telling the families that. The key dates for your sale. I gave you the key dates in that one slide, but you're going to have to modify those. Obviously, you don't want to have the day that you have to turn in everything as your deadline for to gather things. So you're going to have to work on that. Let's see here. Request the parents to join the Trails in Scout Parents. That's going to be a great resource for them. Facebook group and everything. So there's a Trails in Scout Parents Facebook group. If you text kickoff to 62771, you're going to get a presentation, a unit kickoff version that you can then customize and utilize. It's about 25 slides, just like this one is. You'll be able to modify that one for your own usage. And I've looked at it. It's a great one, but that's where you want to get it at. There's a lot of things you can get at that 62771 that'll enhance your opportunities for your scouts and for your own ability to present that. Had a little bit of changes here. If you guys were popcorn colonels last year, remember Jessie Evans? The last couple of years, she was my right-hand person for popcorn. She decided to become a district executive for the Shunga district, despite my questions of why she'd want to leave the popcorn world. And she decided she wanted to become a district executive and work with the popcorn with Shunga district. So, and I know she's got, and I know on the line here is Deborah McKee. She's the colonel for that district as well. So I've got a new person, Kimberly Brummett. That is her information on there. And then my information is as the staff advisor for the popcorn sale. But Kimberly I asked you to just be a little patient with her. She started about 2 weeks ago. And so she's been deep into popcorn, as you can imagine, just out of the gates. And so so give her a little bit of patience. She's probably going to say, I need to find out. And she's going to be the one asking me. But I want her to be able to know these things and answer these questions. So I encourage you to direct your questions through her, knowing that she's going to talk to me about them. And we'll be able to get an answer back to you rather quickly. But you're going to help her learn the job by doing that, as opposed to, you're free to send it to me, and I'll probably end up going to her and saying, I got this email, and here's how I'd like for you to respond back to them. Don't assume that I just don't want to talk to you. I'm just trying to get her trained up, and that's the best way. There's a lot of stuff you can put everything on paper, but until you're in the middle of it, then you see, that's how you learn. So, and then there's also the Trails in support down the left side of that panel that is available as support. Now we're going to stay online, for questions. There's going to be some things I didn't talk about. We are going to be doing some bonus prizes this year, like we did last year. I'm waiting for a response back on what we want to do. The Scout Day at the K obviously was messed up this year. I'm going to continue that for next year. We've got a date for it, so we plan on doing it. It's in April. We'll get that information out. As far as the Zoom things went well this year, for those who were able to come, we had a really good attendance, even though we had to push it back to July. But I don't want to do the same thing every year, but I'm looking at partnering with another company here in town to do something. I'm just waiting to hear back from them. So, and as with everything, people are working from home and there's a little bit of lag in getting all the moving parts together. But by the time that the orders are due, I'm going to have the bonus prize things that we do for the sales level. We're still going to do the banner. We're still going to do the t-shirts. We're still, we're going to do those things. We're going to do the Scout Day at the K. We had 700 people sign up for Scout Day at the K. In addition, including the kids that earned the tickets, between them and then families and other units that did it. We had over 700 from this council that was planned to go to that. I'm not going to take that away. That was going to be cool, and I think it's going to be cool again next year. And we'll probably do the same thing with the parade for the certain sales level and all that kind of stuff. We're going to look at doing something. And I'm still trying to figure out the right math on this. And so I would ask if you are a colonel that has multiple children that are selling, this is always the biggest challenge, because I recognize that with 2 kids doesn't mean twice the sales. It means all the family members get divided in half. And so I want to try and come up with something that we can somewhat consistent to come up with a formula that if you have 2 children selling and to hit some of these bonus prize things. I mean, I can't do much about the gift card prizes, but as far as the bonus prizes, I think there's some things we might be able to do by adding a ticket if you sell a certain amount or whatever. I just don't know how to fairly do that. I go back and forth on that a lot. So I would encourage, if you are a colonel that has that situation and would like to help me with some ideas, please email me at Wayne, W-A-Y-N-E, and my last name, PANCOAST, at scouting.org, and or call into the office and say, hey, Wayne talked too fast, I didn't catch that, so give it to me again. And I'm going to probably, what I'll do here, I'll type it into the everyone in the meeting type thing, so you've got it right there. But I would like to have a half a dozen or so people to kind of help me with a formula that we can be fair, because I recognize that's a challenge. I had 2 kids that were 18 months apart, so there was a lot of times when it came to sports activities, they were competing with each other, and it wasn't like mom was buying twice as much. She was going to buy the same amount either way. So I recognize that. Also, and this is something I in the past we've had a patch. We're going to have a patch again this year. I'm definitely going to do a patch. Just working on some designs on that, and it'll be, for every scout, that sells at least one item is going to get a patch. There's no reason why we shouldn't do patches. The scouts love the patches. Let me see here. I'm going through some of the questions and answers here. I'm looking. Somebody said that somebody brought up about, concern about school starting in September, and that's 501 is our latest school starting that I'm aware of right off the top of my head. We had our district executives basically review every school in the council, and I tell you, it's all across the board. So we are going to look at extending a sale. Andrew and I'm going to get the more details. We just haven't got a chance to set up the exact dates, but basically we can order popcorn and in 2 weeks get the popcorn in. And so we're going to work on trying to do that. When it comes to your first order, we're asking everybody to be a little conservative because we are going to have some inventory challenges with that. And so we will, all of the paperwork that we normally have for you at the kickoff, we're going to post online after this meeting. Tomorrow I'm going to sit down with, once again, another training opportunity for Kimberly to know how to do that. And we'll send out a blast to everybody when the paperwork's out there and ready to go. And so you'll be able to download everything that we have. We will have paper take order forms that we will get out to you. Probably the best way to do that is, we're going to just have to work on some deliveries. It's what we're going to have to do. We may have a situation where we bring, I give it to each of the district executives and we set a time to run around and drop them off, or we're going to be at this parking lot from this time to this time. Come grab your bundle. But that's a lot of, not having a face-to-face kickoff throws a kink in a lot of things. There will be a downloadable version of the order form that's going to be online. So if you need extra forms or if you want them faster, you'll have that available to you. Extended sale, we're going to do that on a case by case. And I've even looked at possibly opening up a spring sale too, if we need to, because I recognize that some units are not going to get 100% of what they used to in the sale in the fall, and they may need a spring option, and we're going to look at that as well. But right now, and I saw a question about the food tax issue. We'll check into that. We haven't had an issue with that in the past, and so we'll research that and get back to everybody on that one. Let's see. There's some that said kind of explain. Let me see here. I'm trying to get back. I got to go back a bit here. Kind of run through the types of sale or the sale option and everything. Basically, I think I may have covered that. And on, the 35% commission will apply to the purely online, where you order it and you have it shipped directly to the customer. So you're not touching the product. If you're not physically touching the product to get to the customer, that's the one that gets the 35%. If you're touching a product and delivering it to a customer, that's what we call the traditional method, because that's been the way we've traditionally done it. In our primary sale, it's either been show and deliver, take order, show and sell, or, table sale. Any of those 3 type of options are what I'm classifying as the normal or traditional way we've sold popcorn. if you're not physically, we've never been a council that's been big into the online ship it directly to the customer. And so that's the one that's kind of new. And that's the one, quite frankly, that is about as COVID friendly as you can get. Let's see here. Go through special patches. Yes, there will be, if we're doing home delivery of popcorn, they ask about that. Will be a delivery fee like last year. Yep, we're running the same as last year. It'll be $50 for one. If you do both of them, it'll be $75 combined, but $50 for either a pre-order or a final order. And we're still planning on doing that, especially with our large units. That's a great option. Can we opt to do online direct only? That is definitely an option. If you want to do that with your unit and you want to push the online direct only option, go for it. That is not a problem. How do we get a card reader for the units, and how many do we get? I think I sent out a note to everybody that we have some of the card readers here. And so if you send me a note on that and how many you'd like, I don't have a ton of them left because we've been getting it out over the past about 4 years. And so a lot of units have a stack of those. And that's been kind of the thing. But we do still have some here. Now they're the old swipe version. They're not the fancy chip card reader versions. But we do have a few of those still left, and you can, if we've got them, you're more than welcome to them. Okay, and I'm going to kick back to Andrew on this one, because he said unmute me, please. But how can we track the shipping and ensure it arrives to the customer for the online direct?
Sure. So I'm pretty sure this year in the app part, so each scout can actually check if that order has a delivered status once it's completed. I know I heard from some unit leaders say that early on there was a tech glitch where the billing information versus the customer's information, it was showing up weird on a screen. So they weren't sure if it was actually going to get there to the right address, but they were able to track that order, they said, and make sure it got there. So I believe in that app for your scout, it does say delivered once it's been delivered to that status. One thing I wanted to point out or really answer is there's a question up here that says, is about the military. If we have a soldier overseas or something like that, how do we ensure that it gets to that soldier? This is like the toughest thing for me, right? Because I have family in the armed forces, and I have friends too, right? And I'd love to ship them personally product over there. Most of those places are locked down. It's so expensive to get that product directly shipped to that base overseas. But the coolest thing I would say, and if you've got stories like this, please send them in. We ship this product all over the country. And there's quite a few bases out by you all that we do as well. And then those soldiers, when they go in and land, they bring product with them. And we have had pictures over the years sent to us of our, men and women of our armed forces, like in foreign countries eating trails and popcorn, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. So I cannot ensure that it's going to get specifically to that soldier that you may know. We provide it to all like the main bases that we work with, and a lot of times it does make its way over there.
And here locally, we work with Forest Field, the Air National Guard over there, and we work through them to get the product out, whatever we have from our council, because that's the base in our backyard, in our council. So that's the one we've tended to work with most closely, and they help us get it then distributed to through their mechanisms. And I know that the basically, if you take your medium-sized U-Haul, that's about the size of the product we take out there each year for them to get distributed. So it's a pretty good amount. This council does a really good job of supporting the military.
Yeah, absolutely. Another good question. Obviously, I can't talk now. All of a sudden, my coffee's wearing off. Obviously, some concern around Trails In getting orders out with struggles to ship in the past with the influx of orders compared to years past. What I would say this year is it's just a difficult, challenging year. And I'm not using that as an excuse, but I think we're going to see challenges everywhere, and we're going to do our absolute best as the strongest partner in this popcorn business to make sure things get to where they need to be on time as the 21-day delivered, promise there. So we're gonna do absolutely everything we can. Kind of like what Wayne and I were talking about earlier is if we got to call an audible at any point in time to best serve this sale for you all, we will do that. And internally at Trails End, we're not against any of that stuff either.
Please. A question about the free shipping that Trails End's currently doing, and that how's that being paid for? I think we touched on that a little bit, but I'll let you go ahead.
So Kyle, it's a great question. I appreciate you asking this question. So Trails End has covered all of the shipping up to this point for all the promos we've done. So what we've been trying to do is gather the data, right? And I'll give you an example here. So 65% is going back to scouting online this year. You sell a $10 bag of caramel, scouting, council, and unit as a whole is getting $6.50, 65%. If it costs $8 to ship that product, Trails End with our manufacturing costs on the side of that product, paying employees, freight, all these other things, right? Warehousing, we're out a ton of money on this kind of stuff. So we've made investments with councils. We've continued to invest in our technology. We're spending more money than ever. We've been here 40 years. We want to be here for another 40. We're just asking for help on this one piece that really we thought we had figured out, right? We had a bunch of, scouts, consumers, and unit leaders say, if I can have all the traditional products, I'm comfortable with paying for that $7.99 or passing it on to, my customer or in the 99 cents thereafter. But it just didn't work, unfortunately. And I wish it did. But what we've gathered, the data shows that if we can get your all help with council to pay for this, it's going to be a much more successful sale online. And like I said, Trails End, we'd love to step in and say, like, look, we'll just cover it all for you. But we haven't taken back any of our promises or investment to council. We're spending more than ever on that prize program with the double rewards there. You all hear of the theme, if you buy more, your cost per unit is lower. Orders nationwide are coming in so much lower than before. Production's tough for us right now. I mean, the cost of the product is astronomical compared to what it's been in years past, but we're not passing that on to council. We're not passing it on that. We're not passing that on to unit. We said, look, we will hold the line there. We just need your help on this online part to get it kicked off, to get it going. We'll try some things throughout this. Like I said, there'll be other bundles. We'll maybe try to raise that floor threshold and try to keep climbing that average order value to get more money back to scouting. We're not going to do anything that harms you as a unit or your scouts. We're in this to make as much money as we can and give as much money as we possibly can back to scouting. And we've done it for 40 years.
Is it my assumption that some of the free shipping that was going on before, some of those specials and everything, that's going to be kind of curtailed during the normal sales period for us, basically September through December? There may be some bundles and that kind of stuff, but the shipping thing, that's going to be kind of consistent now, right?
Right. I mean, we didn't want to go to this thinking we'd ever get away from it. I think like what we've seen, and look, we've got 2 other councils out there right now that have ran independent studies that I've told Wayne about. And I had a scout exec call one of them the other day. He just wasn't sure about it. And he said, are you sure we could go with this? I just don't know if my units are in on this. He said, you'd be crazy not to. The money they are averaging per week right now is exponentially higher than in years past, and even last year at free shipping. We know it's working. Like I said, we're not going to do anything to harm you or anybody about, and if we see this isn't working, we will find a way to make it work. We're not going to let people lose money on this deal. So just keep that in the back of your head. We're constantly looking at data. Wayne and I are going to analyze this daily. We'll be all over it.
I think we've kind of covered all the questions. I'm hopeful that that's the case. I want to thank everybody for staying online here. My goal was to get us done to as close as 8 o'clock as possible, and then allow the time for questions and answers. And I thought it would take about 30 minutes. We're about 8:21, 9:21 for Andrew because he's over in the Eastern time zone. So Andrew, thanks for being online with us tonight and to do this. I appreciate it. I also appreciate from a personal side, I spent the day today taking my daughter to college and moving her into college. And so when I called Andrew and he said he was willing to help out with this, I said, that's great, because I don't know how fried my brain's going to be after hiking all my daughter's college stuff up 3 flights of stairs and everything, because my job was dumb muscles. And I'm getting to a point where I'm going to have to say it's time to find some good friends and offer them some pizza and soda for that. But
Right.
I do appreciate, and there's going to be more information coming out. I will say that when it comes to a distribution location, we're still working on a few of those, because the site we had last year is now the state of Kansas has rented that, and they're using it for their PPEs, all the equipment of that for this area. So there is a lot of changes going on constantly. We will be getting more information out to everybody on a regular basis as we go forward, and we'll work with you. This is going to be a unique sale. When we started summer camp this summer, I told the camp staff, first of all, we delayed summer camp by a month. And I told the camp staff, and we had the orientation finally, because we had to do that 2 weeks before camp, because that's when they opened up the restrictions to have that many in the same space. And they went around the table to introduce themselves. They went around the building, and they introduced themselves as ecology staff and scoutcraft and Baden Powell staff and all this stuff. And I told them, if you've never been on camp staff before, this is not how we normally do it. And if those of you who've been on camp staff, we're going to do it like we never have before. And we changed a lot of things. I mean, instead of having a dedicated staff that stayed in one program area, there was a group of staff that walked around with the group of campers and taught a badge in every program area. So instead of, think about this, 2 weeks before camp was to start, you were expecting to teach 5 classes of basketry and leather work. And when you got up there 2 weeks before, you found out you were going to teach 1 class in aquatics, 1 class in outdoor skills, 1 class in handicraft, and 1 class in some other area throughout the whole day. And so we had to do a lot of adaptations because of the current situations. I know there's a lot of concerns out there about table sales. Some stores aren't going to let you do table sales. Some are going to be okay with it. Some it's going to look differently. We're going to have some safety protocols, recommendations of what we're going to have as far as when you go to a door-to-door sale, by maintaining some distance and keeping the, having the mask and everything like that to help. There's going to be a lot of people out there, though, that are going to be willing to support. I know when I've walked through the neighborhood, my own neighborhood, there's a lot of people that are very happy to see someone come and talk to them because they haven't talked to anybody for a while and they want to have that interaction. So we're going to try, and that's why the online sale and the direct ship sale is a bigger option. I had a scout in one council that he was a Boy Scout that was 16 years old, and he did all his stuff via email. He never went door to door. He went email the whole way, and he would sell between $5,000 and $7,000 a year. Our scouts know how to do this. And the app helps them with creating a microsite to be able to put up their own stuff and send out links and everything else. We're going to have interesting sales this year, and there'll be a lot of success stories. There may be some things that we come out of this sale that we'll add for the future because it's just a great idea that came up. We had that with summer camp. Some of the things we did end up becoming best, recommended practices for the future. And so we'll have some of those. We'll have some stuff that we put in our folder and said, I hope we never have to do this again. And that'll be some of the things too. One last question I saw, and I'm going to jump into this. Can we return open cases? The answer is yes. We have the case return policy. We're not changing that from last year. So you can bring in containers and cases that you don't sell. We'll have that exchange. That'll be on that Super Saturday where you can return the unused product. The good news with all that stuff is and they've even changed this. I mean, what we've learned science-wise has changed immensely in the amount of time that we've been going through this pandemic. But we let that stuff sit for a while. We may have a little bit of period of time before we issue it back out. But we will make sure that we've got the return options there, and we do whatever the proper protocols for maintaining safe handling of the product. So we will have more about that as far as procedures as we learn. Some of this stuff, quite frankly, may change rather quickly. Knock on wood, we're on a downward trend again. And I'm hopeful that that continues. I know there's a lot of anxiety with school starting. I have the same one. I've got a daughter who's a teacher, and she's down in Oklahoma City, and they're going Thursday as classes start. So they're moving full force, but they've added space in the classrooms and everything. So we may find out that some of these early trends may end up changing as we get into this, and we will be as dynamic and as fluid as possible. That's how we did with summer camp, and we had a very successful experience. We were able to offer a quality program, one of 80 camps in the country out of 400 plus camps in the country. We were one of 80 that actually ran a camp. And so we've got good reviews from it. So we've learned from that. We'll be working with our local health departments as best we can, and we will be constantly giving you information of how you can do this as safe as possible for your scouts. And we hope to be able to put a quality program together to help you raise the money that you need to do for the scouts to be able to do the programs. Because I can tell you, after the zoo day, when I had the zoo day, I asked a bunch of the scouts, I asked all the groups, I said, how many of you, please raise your hand if this is the first scouting activity you've done since March? And coming outside of outside of the virtual or whatever, first face-to-face outside activity. 2/3 of the group raised their hands. And parents were coming up just thanking to say, I'm so glad you were able to have this. We needed to have this. We needed to be outside. We've got a lot of families that want to do things, and we want to make sure we do it safely, as we've always wanted to be safe. This is just taking on a much different tone than it's ever been done before. And we will continue to help feed that information to you so that you can stay on top of it as fast as we can. I thank everyone for participating in this Zoom call tonight and being patient with my my first fumbling of this. We're doing the same thing for our program kickoff on Thursday, but I'm going to turn it over to more accomplished people to handle that one, and I'm just going to be a spectator. So thank you all for participating. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.